We were able to get better yields than conventional in the first season. Not a single drop of water leaves this land. Basically, we don't have to spend any money on fertilizer because the biomass is there, and so like the soil biology is really active.
We have abundant elephants in like 15 to 30 minutes of where our farm is, and the feed of the animal is so important to the quality of the manure that they produce. The microbes work with the roots of the plants to provide the plants with those very complex nutrients.
Today I'm in northern Thailand to visit Living Roots Farm with my friends Abhi and Avika, the creators of this wonderful regenerative farm, where they are employing some of the most advanced regenerative farming techniques, things that will change our food system for the better, help farmers in all sorts of ways to grow more nutritious crops and crops that will resist pests and disease. Here in Thailand, they only get about 2 to 3 months of extreme rainfall and then 10 months, 9 months of dry season. So what I'm walking in right now is their on contour plantings of a bunch of different trees. And these big mounds behind me, these big swales, are designed to capture a ton of the water. And he said in the rainy season, where I'm standing actually completely fills up with water that sinks into the ground, and it's stored in the ground for the plants to use for a very long time. So behind you guys there, a couple of your farm team is planting the rice. And what is that machine?
It's a drum seeder. And it's just a way to kind of make manual rice planting a little bit more efficient.
In our area, people move from seeding the rice with seedlings to direct seeding. And so last year we had 10 people like basically walk and seed each portion. And then that just seemed like too much work. So we found this. This is like for the SRI rice technique. So it's built with specific spacing in mind. So it'll also space the rice correctly. And that makes like de-weeding really easy for us. If you just broadcast, it's really hard because then we don't use herbicides, so we can't kill the weeds. So then trying to select weeds while also stepping on seedlings is such a hard job. So this kind of organizes your seedlings into like a 30 by 30, so then you can walk and use a machine to de-weed. Our area, like almost all farmers grow rice, but they've been growing using such like bad techniques or with conventional techniques for really long. And their yields have been slowly, like very slowly increasing, but their chemical use has been like really skyrocketing because the land is just getting more degraded. But we wanted to do something in a different way. And so we were like, we can grow really good rice at better yields, but also, use biological methods. So all of our rice is grown using biology. So we use compost extracts, we coat the seeds in biology, the full system. And we've been seeing better and better yields as we grow and using less and less inputs.
Yeah, we also use rice husk biochar as well. Biochar is a way of taking organic materials and organic waste and then burning it in a low oxygen condition in order to create a really carbon-rich material that then you can put back into your land.
It kind of acts like a sponge. So it's not really a nutrient at all or anything, but it holds a lot of nutrients. So you can charge it with whatever kind of nutrients and biology you want, and it kind of stays in the air pockets inside the biochar. And that's really great when you are starting with really, really poor soil. It really brings the nutrients back, but it also has a space to kind of hold the nutrients. So you really need that because, here we're starting with like 0.2% organic matter. So like we're talking literally nothing left.
Wow.
But like, we were able to get better yields than conventional in the first season. So this plot we rented last season with 0.2% organic matter. We brought the biology back and we got higher yields at a lower cost. So you can kind of see, with no pest issue, we had no pesticide, no herbicide, not even neem oil. The plants just, they were like this big. It's pretty awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Good job, guys. That's so cool.
It's so cool. It's just something about nature. She really wants to come back, and we kind of provide a small house for it, and boom.
Yeah, we're gonna go check out how you make all this special biology, and maybe we can get some tips too for us home growers.
Absolutely.
How can we incorporate some of these awesome techniques? Man, that's really impressive. What do you use this rice for? Do you sell the rice, or is it seed, or what does it become?
A portion of it we grow kind of to sell as organic rice, but we're also starting to get really passionate about saving heirloom rice varieties in Thailand, but also within other Asian countries as well.
India and Thailand both have hundreds of thousands of rice varieties that people used to grow. So like India itself, I think, had over 200,000 varieties of rice, and now there's like 8 that people grow. So
Yeah.
and each one like was suited to kind of grow in a specific microclimate. So like it would be very resistant to any drought, like heat tolerance, cold tolerance. But now, like we have a lot more issues, and so like bringing some of these old varieties back will help us kind of also safeguard the long-term rice production.
Yeah, and we have people who work with us on the farm. They're a little bit older, but they remember when they were growing up, they had a different rice variety of seed that they no longer grow, but they remember that that particular variety required like no inputs, no synthetic fertilizer whatsoever, and their parents didn't have to use any type of pesticides to grow it, or even like to input any synthetic fertilizer. So
Yeah.
we don't want those varieties to go missing.
Yeah, that's true.
So how does this guy do it? Like he's just dragging this thing.
Yeah, he's also not wearing shoes.
Yeah.
I think it's the most comfortable way to. Yeah, so there's just little holes in the drum, and then as you drag it, the wheel spins, and then the seeds just drop into the rice paddy. Yeah, and then it germinates within a week, and we also add a biological seed coating mix as well
Before you put it
before we put it in the drum seeder. Yeah.
We soak it one day, and then we wait till it germinates a bit. So when it goes into the soil, it's already pre-germinated. And we want that because we want the biology to touch the root before, like as it's touching in, so then it develops all of the biological as the root system grows. So yeah, if you want to take a look. If you look here, you can kind of see some of the seed coating with some compost and some other nutrients that we add. And
you can see that that's the root right
yeah,
there,
that's
right?
the root.
Wow.
Yeah, so then they just fill this in, and then there's little holes here. There's 2 settings. One has many more holes, but then you cover it up with this little cloth thing. So it's easy. Low. It's only like $80, so it's quite efficient. Yeah, so we're here at our farm. It's called Living Roots Farm. We moved here about a year and a half ago, so it's quite new. And if you don't know, like in the Chiang Mai climate, we only have rain for about 2 to 3 months of the year, and about 9 months of drought. So we have no rain like at all. So we really have to design our land to take really intense rainfall during really high rainfall times. We're getting like 1,000 mm in 2 months, and sometimes like 100 mm day.
Wow.
But then also be kind of suited to then recovering in the dry seasons. And so we use this kind of swale technique where swales are just like they're on contour. What that means is water is neither going up or down, it's kind of staying flat. And it really helps us spread the water when really heavy rainfall comes. For example, our land is kind of sloped this way. So when rainfall happens, it really wants to just take the shortest path down the mountain. But what you want is to slow the water. And so as it goes down the mountain, you're kind of creating barriers for it. And so it slows down and gives it time to sink into the land. So we kind of use these mound techniques here. We've basically built kind of like an inverse swale where we dug out to create a mound and then we plant on the mound. And so when it rains, this whole mounded area, like if you can see between this, kind of fills up with water. So we have water till like here, and it really gives it opportunity to go back into the land. And we established these trees about a year ago, and you can kind of see that, you know, we use kind of drought tolerant species, but they're already at about like 8 meters tall. So they're able to kind of get a lot of water in. And then we have planted some, you know, fruit citrus trees in the middle. We plant kind of grass species as well. And this technique is called Syntropic, where you're kind of planting a lot of mixed species. The really good reason for mixed species is they kind of shade in different intervals. So you can have one tree that will shade like 10 meters, and then in the shade you can have this like incredible pineapple or cacao. And the other kind of point is it's a really good biomass system. So we grow a lot of Napier grass that, you know, grows to like 7-8 meters tall, like we'll kind of show you over there. Before the rainy season and after the rainy season, they're really big, so we cut them down and then use them as biomass for our trees. And that helps us plant in again. The first years of establishing the system are quite tricky because for us, like we plant them and then we don't really have enough water to make sure all the trees are alive. So like some years we have really bad die-offs because there's no water or it's really hot. But then once the system kind of keeps going, it's like an infinite system almost. So what we would do is that we would come and cut all of the leaves up to like halfway point. And so that gives us a lot of biomass. And then we'll plant the fruit tree like there next year. That's given us this choice of like, basically we don't have to spend any money on fertilizer because the biomass is there. And so like the soil biology is really active and it's digesting all this really good nutrients. It's increasing the organic matter.
So just by adding the leaves from the plants that are growing in this area and putting them down on top of the soil, that's enough.
That's right. Yeah, it's enough to really fertilize the whole system. And we do a lot of banana trees too. So we chop the whole banana trunk and lay them on top after. There's a lot of really neat tricks in this system that really help. But the really important thing is you want as many roots in one area as you can get because the root system is what's really creating the biology and kind of providing that, it's taking that, putting carbon back into the ground. So like there's this like concept of liquid carbon and like all of these really interesting techniques. And you don't really need to get into that science really. The point is just to have as many roots as you possibly can. And that's why we try to plant as intensely as possible. Some rows we're like have moringa, we have pigeon pea, we have acacia, we have banana, pineapple, and we have the grasses. And then we do like leguminous and species and things. So it's like quite an intense system. Wow. Yeah, and the hope is to just really continue to plant it. And then the actual extra benefit is in the center of the 2 tree rows, we can actually grow field crops. So, over time, we want to do a corn or a turmeric or a ginger or garlic. And so you're not just getting the advantage of having trees grown, but then you're also getting the advantage of like the kind of field crops that you're growing. And one of the disadvantages of tree farming is you lock your land in forever. But this way, you have your trees growing, but you're also making your income in the short run. And so it's such a great system. Not a single drop of water leaves this land, and that's like really what you want. And in the future, we'll this place we're also going to grow grass, and then we can have our cows kind of graze through each system from the top to the bottom, just like in a loop. And you can run your chicken tractors, and it's really good if you have a homestead or any kind of system like that because, like your cows will fertilize the trees with their manure, and like the chickens will eat your weeds and all of these things. And so it's such a cool system.
So everything just gets to work together and they all help each other too.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So this could be done anywhere in the world, right?
Definitely.
I mean,
yeah, Syntropic was made for tropical, but like really the principles are that you are very intentionally designing where the trees are, and then there are kind of added principles that you could look into as well. But I think the real point is, like you follow the nature's principles in your own area, and then you can kind of design the animal systems to kind of coexist with that, rather than have your animals in one place and your trees in one place. Like really bring it together.
Right.
Yeah.
And even if you didn't want to raise animals, you're creating all this biomass.
Exactly.
Instead of using their manure.
Yeah.
This is like green manure, I guess you'd call it.
Definitely, yeah. It's super great because like these like if you select the right grasses for your land, they have a lot of different nutrients. Like this grass, Napier grass, is really high in photosynthesis, so it has a lot of the nutrients that are necessary to enhance photosynthesis for your plants. So by cutting it, you're providing the correct nutrients that other plants would need to improve photosynthesis. So it's just small things that you can do to really boost your system. And it, like for Napier grass, you can take a cutting and plant it again, and it comes up. So it's such an easy system because we had like 10 Napier grass the first year, and then it became 100, and now we have like 10 acres of Napier grass.
What are these trees?
So this is an acacia plant.
Acacia. What is that good for?
Acacia is really drought tolerant, and it's a it's a nitrogen fixer. It's drought tolerant. And it's like one of the highest carbon sequestration trees in the world. So like after eucalyptus, this is like, I think, #2. So it's not just putting down a lot of carbon and fixing your nitrogen, but it also is a prolific grower. So it can grow really like up to 10 meters a year, like in the right conditions. And one of the kind of important principles of kind of growing a forest is like, in permaculture, they say like, forests grow on fallen forests. Like, so like the principle is you kind of want to establish the shade of the system and the leaves. So, we've established this tree as kind of the pioneer species, which is, this land was so degraded, nothing survived. So this is the only species that would pioneer this land. And then like in the summer, the leaves start dropping. So we have this like really rich leaf matter. And then, like that increases the fungi and the mycelium because they decompose the leaf and like it really kickstart the system. And then for us, right after the summer, there's the rain. So as the rain comes, it leads to like mushroom blooms, and the mushrooms then spore, and it just really quickly regenerates the system. And so when you're establishing a system, you really want something that can do so much, like has so many different benefits. And then, then you come in with your cash trees, like we probably will do like durian and pomelo and all of the other kind of trees that work really well here.
You'll plant durian and these cash crops at a certain point in the system, and then you'll remove this tree, or this will always be here? Or?
This, like, we'll cut like half of them. We'll keep some of them because, like, this is also like a really good hardwood tea, so you can build furniture or other things from it. Initially, we'll plant the durian here, like for example, and then we'll kind of keep the banana, we'll kind of keep the acacia, and then we might plant some more. But then as the kind of durian continues to be big, then we kind of chop and drop and help the system for the durian to grow. But the really important thing at the beginning, what you want is just to shade them so they can have the room to, like not have to
deal with the sun survive the drought.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, so then like for us, it's like we can't afford to water each tree. Like there's no irrigation system in our forestry system. So we have to be a bit more patient at the kind of advancements we make. I think if you have irrigation, you can plant the durian much earlier. But for us, since we don't have a lot of water, we plant it in like sequences almost,
We're born and grew up in Bangkok, so very different from the life that we live now. So we kind of took the more traditional route of being raised in the city, and then we went to university actually in the US. That's where we met, and we were both working there for a while, and right around COVID we decided that this wasn't the life that we wanted to live forever. And we thought COVID was such a big change in our life, and it was a good idea and a good time to move back to Thailand. And in the process of thinking about moving back to Thailand, we thought about what it is that we really wanted to do. And we've always been people who have loved nature and the idea of growing food organically. And that's what we did. Yeah, so we were software engineers for many years, and then really wanted to transition into like working with nature and kind of the systems here. And it really just resonated a lot for us because being a farmer and being a software engineer, all you're kind of doing is problem solving. And so the same skill sets really apply to running a farm or in engineering. And for me, the journey has been so incredible just because like nature is so complex that you learn so much and it's so chaotic every day. It's like basically running an organized chaos farm. So there's so many systems and to think about, and like compared to engineering, it's like so vast the amount of things you have to know. Absolutely, yeah. And so we ran a successful market garden for quite a few years here, but now we've sort of our really passion and the work that we really want to do is provide regenerative techniques and inputs to farmers across Thailand, but in Southeast Asia as well. So that's what we're working on now at the moment at Living Roots, and that's what
just for a little bit of context for everyone, like organic is still like 0.1% or 0.2% of Thailand's farming. So it's like even for a country that is agriculture based, it's like basically 0.5% or less is going into
Yeah.
regenerative and improving the land. Everything else is kind of like deforesting even more land at speed to kind of grow crops.
Cash crops. That's right.
so
yeah.
Like now the challenge is like how do we recover really bad land and make
Exactly.
it productive again?
Yeah, there's a lot of land in Thailand where, for example, a crop like cassava can no longer be grown because the land is so degraded, and so they have to continue to deforest in order to continue growing cash
Cassava.
crops and cassava. But we want to take those degraded land and turn it back into useful, productive land. We are in our home garden area where we use this garden as a place to save our heirloom seeds as well as, just try growing a bunch of different things as diverse as we can. And we all eat from here on the farm. There's about 10 of us. And so we've just grown a bunch of mixed veggies here. These are some varieties of gourd that we've grown, these guys here. These are some salad leaves. Dill, some broccoli growing there, some cilantro.
I love this bamboo structure that you've made.
Yeah.
What is this? Do you trellis on this?
Yes, this is our trellis structure. When these gourds get bigger, we'll trellis them onto here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because in the tropics, we have a lot of climbing plants and plants that vine and need some trellising to grow. So this will be a beautiful walkway in about 2 or 3 months.
Because yeah, it's January right now, but basically the what we would think of is like the summer crops are planted now.
Yes, yeah. So we have our kind of coolest time of the year is from October through till about January or February. And then we head into the really dry and hot season around March and April.
So different, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
very different. But our winter only gets up to about 25,
Yeah.
26 during the day, and then it gets down to about 10 degrees in the evenings and nights and
pretty
mornings.
nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. But in April, the temperature goes up to almost 40 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
So it's very hot.
Yeah, it's a long,
Yeah.
hot summer.
Yeah.
Someone
and
told
dry.
me Thailand has, they have summer and you have super summer.
Super summer is correct. super summer is correct.
How did you set these beds up initially?
Sheet mulching. We're at the bottom. We've put some cardboard, and then we've also layered it with dried leaves,
Nice.
as well as fresh grass as well, like fresh weeds and grass clippings. And then we've prepared on top a layer of compost, as well as we've mixed in a lot of garden amendments and vermicompost as well. Yeah,
Excellent.
just to make sure we have a really good biologically active area for the vegetables to grow.
Yeah, and it's just brick is the bed. That's cool.
Yeah,
I like
brick.
that.
We had it lying around, and so we just wanted to make good use of it, so we brought them over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then these bamboos were harvested from right around where some of the staff that we work on the farm, they got it from their homes. It's grown right here, like 10 minutes from here.
Oh my gosh.
That's really cool.
That
yeah.
is really cool.
Yeah. And these are also made from bamboo.
The top piece.
The top is. They just kind of split the bamboo and then they bend it. So this whole trellis is made from bamboo.
What are these skirts?
They
from?
are made from, they're used as roofing materials
Yeah.
in Thailand. So people will build grass and straw roofs from these types of materials. And they're cheap and they look really cute. So we use them a lot in the farm. We use them a lot for fencing. Yeah.
It makes a great fence.
Yeah. This is the farm's composting center. So we make biologically active compost. And one of the things we struggled with at the beginning was figuring out a good source of nitrogen. And we tried a lot of different stuff. We tried cow manure, we tried chicken manure, and it didn't work for us. And I think we realized later that the feed of the animal is so important to the quality of the manure that they produce. And if we want to put it in our compost, we have to find an animal that is eating some really good stuff. So domesticated livestock in here are not getting the best nutrition. So we weren't able to use the manure. So we kind of scoured the entire region to see what we could use. And there are a few elephants that are about 10 to 15 minutes from our farm. And we visited them and we took some of their manure, brought it back to our farm, just being like, it doesn't hurt to try. What the heck? They're here, we might as well try it. And it worked. It made really good compost for us. And the heating cycles were on track. We got good temperatures throughout turning the pile. So that's just what we use now. It's great. We live in Thailand and we have abundant elephants. Yeah, we love it there. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So unique.
if
Yeah.
you want to see some elephant manure, it's very fibrous. So they poop out a lot of material, and it's really good compost material because it's semi-digested. So we're getting a lot of different microbes, and we only have to use like 9 or 10% high nitrogen in our compost. Like this is also really high in kind of nitrogen content.
It doesn't stink. I can't believe it.
No.
It doesn't stink at all. I've
No.
never.
And like
amazing.
it breaks apart like really easily.
It's just like plant fibers.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And sometimes it comes like with seeds inside, so you can find like random things growing inside your elephant manure, like
Pre-digested
pumpkins. And
seeds.
so it's super awesome. And
And what do you mix that with?
yeah, so we mix it with wood chips. It's kind of like a mix, but we're using wood chips, we're using leaves, and we're using weeds.
Fresh
so
weeds.
it's anything we can really find on the farm that also has a lot of like microbial activity. It's leaves from a lot of very diverse sources. And we use it in like this 1 meter by 1 meter cage that we're setting up. And then it goes through 3 heating cycles. So it's going through, like between 55 to 75 Celsius. After that, we flip it, and like we flip it about 3 times. But in 20 days, you have this like incredible biological compost where you only need like 2 kilos an acre to add the biology back, which means for you at home, you only need 2 kilos of this, and your garden will be thriving again.
Yeah, so I think traditionally people have looked at compost and adding agricultural inputs from the mineral perspective, the minerals that's maybe missing from the soil, you want to amend it. So that's why people take soil chemistry tests, and that's equally as important. But for a long time, nobody regarded that the biology, the life, and the microbes that are in the soil work in symbiosis with the roots of the plant to provide it the nutrients that they also need. So maybe nutrients that we don't even realize that the plants need. The microbes work with the roots of the plants to provide the plants with those very complex nutrients. So when you make compost that has a ton of biology in them, you're able to just inoculate a small amount of it into your garden. And if you provide the right conditions for them, they grow and they thrive and they continue to grow and live in your soil.
Yeah.
So cool.
And I think some like really cool things is that the soil is really this like predator-prey ecosystem. And I think for me, I didn't really realize this when we started gardening or farming or creating biological active compost. But there's like certain sets of groups of organisms that are eating each other and kind of releasing the nutrients through like kind of the consumption and the ecosystem in there. So once you kind of shift or at least when I shifted my thinking to seeing land as kind of like the ability for like a tomato to grow without us intervening, like that's really powerful. Like we want to get to a place where we can grow rice without any input. And the way to really get that is to kind of create this amazing ecosystem.
What's a tip for people at home that want to create more biology in the compost that they're making? What is one way that they could do that?
Yeah, I would start small and don't be discouraged. It actually took us almost 2 years to figure out the right recipe that works for us and our climate. And yeah, we just kept going, and it's possible. We use about 60% of our compost is made from brown materials, either leaves, cardboard, wood chips, and 30% is fresh green materials. So we mainly use weeds that we just collect around the farm. Weeds are quite dense in terms of the nutrients that are in there. So we use just weeds in terms of the green materials from around the farm, and then 10% is elephant manure. Yeah. But
So high nitrogen.
high nitrogen, that's right, yeah.
So someone could try to use chicken manure.
Yeah,
or-
if you have chickens at home, you can use chicken manure. If you have cows nearby where you are, you could definitely try cow as well.
Yeah, one thing wanted to add is like I think initially I was really discouraged from using weeds. I think that was like a big mistake
Yeah.
because the really interesting thing is weeds that grow on your land show you what nutrients are deficient in your land. So the weeds that are growing and like you have a calcium deficient soil will be high in calcium because it's growing to provide the calcium back into the earth. And so if you use the weeds that are in your garden or near your land, they actually will contain the right nutrients for your garden. And that's just really powerful. Like you can like on one of our other properties, it's very, very low in potassium, but there's these like really big ferns and those only come up when there's a lot of like very low potassium. But now if you make kind of like a compost with that, that compost will be very rich in potassium. And then actually that weed will stop coming because it will give the weed a signal that the land no longer needs the potassium. So you can kind of fix these small things in your garden by the things you already have.
And then the few other things we had to figure out how to get right was moisture. That was difficult because Thailand is quite like a humid climate. So I think we were over watering our compost for a long time when we realized that maybe we didn't need as much water. Once we cut down on that, our compost, the heating cycles went by much more smoothly and it heated up much better. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, getting the right mix of brown and green and the moisture.
Yeah.
Keep practicing and don't give up.
Yeah. 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 We were very excited when we successfully made our first pile. We were like through the roof. And then after that, it's pretty much smooth sailing because you can just keep replicating. When we still make mistakes, there are still some times when the pile doesn't get exactly to the right temperature. Then we take a step back and figure out what we did wrong. Yeah.
I think the helpful thing was also testing small batches.
Yeah.
So like doing, like
Maybe half
before
the size.
making this, you can do a 10 cup test where you do the same ratios, but you only need 10 cups of materials and you leave it on your porch in your house. And then you just come the next day and see if the temperature went up or not. Like if you touch it, did it go up? And then you can very easily test if that mix is good before you spend like 4 days building this crazy thing. You can do a small test and just touch it and see.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would anytime you're going out looking for a source of manure, just ask the farmer what they've been eating, and that will actually help you figure out quite a bit if that's going to be a good manure source for your compost or not.
It's like antibiotics, probably.
Antibiotics, or if there's a lot of processed food that are really high in salts, those often won't work in compost and they won't heat up your compost very well.
This one is a kind of interesting design that we use. This is kind of like a donut shape. It's kind of like a Johnson 2 bioreactor or something if people are familiar, but we add our finished biocomplete or like the style of compost that we're using into this donut shape, and then we add worms. So the shape allows it to basically get oxygen from both sides. So this portion of the pile will get oxygen from the outside, and the inner portion will get oxygen from the inside. And so you don't really want to create a really big one because then the center will kind of lack oxygen. And so the donut shape really works well. And then now we don't need really expensive bins to put the worms in. You can just throw your worms in here and keep the moisture good, and like you basically get really good vermicompost in a few months.
So this will turn into vermicompost over time.
You're going through the compost cycle and then adding it to the worm. So what you're getting is just so good that you need very little and like your garden will definitely flourish.
Like the best fertilizer ever.
Definitely.
So one of the cool ways we use compost here on the farm is we don't use it in its solid form, but instead we make something called a compost extract, where we're extracting a lot of the microbes that are in the compost into a liquid form, and then we water our garden with that compost extract, and sort of that helps to really efficiently re-inoculate microbes back into our garden. It's really easy to make. You can also use your hands to make it. Yeah, basically you just take a bunch of the compost that you've made, then throw it in some water,
So one giant handful.
One giant handful per 1 bucket of water. We are not precise. I don't think for at home you really have to be that precise.
Yeah, but you can really quickly see that the 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 water starts to become kind of brownish
Yeah, dark
already.
brown color. And that's, you know that your compost is full of good stuff like fulvic acids, humic acids, and the microbes are in there as well. One way you can do it is just try to massage the compost with your hand. But we have found out that using a paint mixer, it really helps to get the good stuff out of the compost.
Yeah. So this is just your garden variety paint mixer that you can purchase at your local construction store, and this is just a normal drill. So nothing super specific, and you just need to use non-chlorinated water. So if you're at home,
That's right.
like you might, if you don't have a chlorine filter, you can leave out your water in the sun for 24 hours, just one day, and that will the chlorine will kind of evaporate. So that's one easy way to do it. But all you need to do is put some of your compost. You can buy a biologically active compost, or you can use vermicompost as well, or any compost you have. So you want to do that for like 3-4 minutes, and the kind of microbes from it will go into the liquid form. And half a bucket like this with this much compost is good for like more than enough for 1 acre. So if you make this much for your home garden, like that's really good. You just take like a bucket. You can either dilute it with water. It's like 1 to 10. So this half bucket will make about 5 buckets of compost extract that you can spread. Or if you have like a small container, you can just you can put it into your plants very easily. Like there's no real set system, just really do what you can.
Yeah. One fun thing is that you can even add additional foods for the microbes to your compost extract before you use it in your garden. A little bit of kelp, a little bit of whatever.
Yeah, if you have access to like fish amino or fish hydrolysate, that's good.
Yeah, that'll really kickstart the microbial activity.
Some rock
in the
powders,
compost.
if
Yeah.
you have, like you can really tailor it to what you need. Another fun thing that you can do with this is you can also spray it onto the leaves of the plants, and you don't really have to make compost teas. Even compost extracts work when you spray it onto the leaf surfaces. So if you have a lot of pest and disease issues that you're facing, just filter this with like a paint bag and then put it into your backpack sprayer or a little bottle and spray the leaves, and you'll see that over time the kind of pest and disease issues would come down. If you're adding it to kind of your garden, and if you're not using vermicompost, then you can do it quite regularly because you're really adding the biology back.
Once a week.
Once a week is good.
Once a week's a good amount of time, yeah.
But if you're using kind of vermicompost, it's a bit more potent. So maybe thrice in a season is more than enough because you might be over adding the nutrients. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for showing us that.
Yeah. We run a company or a business called Living Roots where we help other people or other farmers move off conventional fertilizers to kind of using regenerative practices. So here we're in one of our trial plots for sweet potatoes. And what we're trying to see is whether conventional sweet potato or biologically grown sweet potato would do better. So some of them are coated with biology, and then some of them are grown either with nothing, which is some people grow sweet potatoes with no inputs. And so we are testing conventional, nothing, and biologically grown. And then what we do, in addition, we send kind of the leaves for sap analysis so we can understand what nutrients are missing from all three. And then we kind of take bricks readings very often to understand where our plant sugars are. So it really helps us continue to keep data. Then we don't have to wait to see the yield. We can kind of see if the plant is really high bricks or like the soil report looks good, that we're on kind of the right page. It's been really important for us to have a lot of these small techniques and on how to measure the crop health that we are. And one really easy example is this tool color refractometer, which measures plant bricks, and something you can buy yourself for like $20. It's really inexpensive and something that you could use day to day. So all we do with the kind of bricks meter is we take the sweet potato leaves, we put it into this garlic press, and then what you want to do is get the sap of the sweet potato out and put it onto this refractometer. And then the refractometer basically tells you how much sugars are in the plants itself. And that really can help you level up your knowledge, because it's like a metric that you're looking at. And so like you can see, how is my garden doing today? And the compost I'm adding or the new practices I'm using, like what is that doing to my garden? And you don't have to send it to anyone. You just do it yourself. And like it's a day-to-day fun thing that I really like to do. It's really changed, like these things have been so powerful for us. It's really changed the way that we've gardened and kind of done our experimentation, because now anyone of our team can really come in and see how this is doing. Like, and if it doesn't look good, then we can kind of make adjustments. But like being able to do things yourself is like such an incredible feeling. And it really makes regenerative agriculture approachable. Like you don't have to go and get knowledge from anyone. Like you don't have to go to university and give them something. You can kind of tweak and make small adjustments and see, how's my ecosystem doing today? Because like the best people are us who know our farm. And so like if we see like the bricks is low, then we can really easily kind of debug what happens. And you can kind of really do that for your own home garden too.
One of the big issues in Thailand, but in Southeast Asia in general, is the practice of crop burning. And we think soil biology is a really innovative way to address that problem, as what often happens is that a farmer will harvest their crop, either rice, corn, or sugarcane, which are the primary crops that are grown in this part of the world, and their crop residue is not able to degrade on their land as due to sort of maybe harmful or bad farming practices. Their soil is no longer biologically active, so the crop residue, even if you left it there for maybe a year, might not degrade. So the solution that they kind of try to solve that problem with is to burn it so that they can clear their land for the next season's planting. But a really innovative way to tackle that problem that helps reduce crop burning is to use a biological product to speed up the degradation of the crop residue.
I was told in Thailand, like for many months, in Laos and Myanmar, all the countries around northern Thailand, everyone's burning their crops for months at a time.
Yeah.
And it creates incredible pollution and breathing problems for people. So what you are working on is a solution that could stop that, and it's going to help make their soil better.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And it will help improve yields as well, as the crop residue then becomes very good food for the microbes, and it kind of feeds back into the soil as well.
It takes 2 to 3 weeks, but it breaks down, and like it makes the stubble really soft. So when the kind of issue of why they burn is when you bring in a tractor, like the residue actually gets stuck onto the tractor. So they either have to hand clear the land or they have to go in and burn it. And so they choose to burn. But
because hand clearing is very labor intensive.
Yeah.
And it takes way too long, and it's not a thing many people like doing. Yeah.
Yeah, so then what this product does, it just like it degrades it to a point that the stubble is really soft. So when the tractor comes in, it automatically will pull apart and kind of be added as organic matter back into the soil. So it's quite, I mean, I hope this product works for many farmers, just because I think it'll be quite nice to just be able to live in a country which there's no air pollution all the time or in that time. Yeah.
And is this something that you create here and you came up with, I guess?
Yeah, it's been inspired by a lot of different products like that people have made, like in the US and Europe and like kind of around the world, of how to kind of use bacterial species or fungal species to break down things. So we use things inside our product are also like sea salt and seaweed and all of like these really high nutrient or mineral like rich things that are like kind of trying to activate the soil in that way. So we've taken inspiration from a lot of different kind of ways of practices like regenerative farming and all of the other things people have done to make something that is like really cost effective. But yeah, we make it, and then all farmer have to do is put in their backpack sprayer or a drone and just spray it. So it's like quite easy.
When we first moved here, this forest in our property was already established, and we really didn't want to cut it down. So one way of trying to make it into a productive area was to figure out what we can grow in shade. And luckily, cacao trees grow really well in this part of Thailand. Cacaos don't really need that much space, maybe about 2.5 meters per tree. So we're able to fit almost 300 to 400 trees within this small area of forested area in our farm.
You know, like the forest already has so many microorganisms that live in it, so
Exactly,
you don't
yeah.
really need to provide that much to it. Like it already has a lot of symbiotic like microorganisms in the forest, so it's like a really win-win. And so for us, we can come in and preserve this forest.
We actually collect some of the leaves in this forested part of our farm to use to make our compost. Then the microbes from that are there in those leaves, we come back and use it in to grow the cacao trees. So there's a lot of full circle moment there. Yeah, and trying to figure out how to grow cacao trees regeneratively is also a big part of what we do as well. Yeah.
But kind of one tip for everyone at home is if you are planting trees in kind of your house, like we just made compost extract, or you know, like you can kind of dip the whole seedling into compost extract and kind of added nutrients before you plant it, and it really helps it survive more. So what we do is before we plant any tree, we just leave it in compost extract for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or even put a little bit on top, however it works for you, and it really goes a long way. Like I think you can get 20 to 30% less deaths of trees.
What ends up happening to all these trees? Like once the cacao gets bigger, what can it keep growing under the trees, or what do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. We just leave them to grow in shade.
Wow.
Yeah. Usually people will build shade for their cacao tree. Yeah. Or in Thailand, sometimes they'll grow it underneath rubber trees.
Is your goal to make chocolate with it at some point, or what?
That would be really cool.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I think we'll have to be patient, but definitely we'll want to get there one day.
Yeah, it would be awesome. I mean, it just feels like such a satisfying thing to kind of get chocolate that's made from your land. Because we're also growing sugarcane, so maybe the sugarcane sugar and the chocolate. One land.
Now we're talking. Yeah.
What are these trees growing here?
So all of these trees are kind of like a dictocarpus and kind of native tree species. So we have like about a 10-acre native forest. So they kind of just came up over time. So like no one really planted them, and then it kind of self-seeded. But they're all tree species that are from this area, and we're in a like kind of deciduous area, so all the trees leaves fall in the summer. So when we come here in like March or April, it's just like full of leaves, and so it's like such a sight. They really multiplied. So this is our vermicompost bin. If people aren't familiar, then we kind of use like, you know, earthworms to kind of decompose the material and make them into really good compost. And like vermicompost is some of the best compost you can get, because as it passes through the gut of the worms add so much material to it that it's just like incredible. A lot of vermicompost operations use kind of manures, but we kind of take a different way here. We use a lot of woody material, so like wood chips. After we have peanut harvest, we use the peanut shells. We use banana trunks, just leaves, and as many woody things we can get, because we really want to have a lot of fungal material in our compost. And that's worked out really well. Like we have this really rich like vermicompost material that it's really high in fungi if you look at it under a microscope. Also with a lot of different nutrients. So it works out really nicely, and I think it's such an easy way to grow biology at your home as well. Like especially if you have a yard with leaves, as they fall, you can kind of put them in a bin.
Yeah, because I did not know this until recently, but the worms actually are chowing through the microbes, which I didn't know that. And I just thought they were eating the actual material, but they're actually eating the microbes that are on the materials that you put in. People aren't successful with vermicompost because they kind of just treat it sort of as a garbage bin, and it ends up catching flies, and it becomes a really anaerobic, stinky environment, and people don't like that. But you know, here there's no smell whatsoever. The vermicompost that comes out is such good quality and provides your plants with a lot of different types of hormones that you don't normally find in regular compost. Plant growth hormones. Just
like a few tips that we've kind of designed this over time as is you always want it to be somewhat sloping. So ours is like on maybe a 1 meter slope down. So, you know, like in extreme situations, if the roof falls and it's raining and kind of it becomes filled with water or something happens when we've overwatered, the water kind of naturally drains off. And then we've added these kind of aeration tubes to as we kind of fill the whole vermicompost bin till the top, this makes sure that there's some way for either water to drain because there's holes or air to come in. And so the pipes actually go into our forest. So it brings in kind of like this like air into the system and cooler air as well. So it kind of naturally reduces the temperature.
And so these pipes are piped up into those woods back there.
Yeah, so it comes from a little bit of a further thing and where the temperature is quite cool and it's shaded.
Interesting concept. I love that.
Yeah. They're great. We love them.
That's cool.
There's a lot.
Looks really good.
There are many. There are many. And they're happy. I think you can tell that they're happy.
Really cool. Love it. What's at the bottom is just clay bottom or whatever the...
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you just have to put a barrier, otherwise they go through the ground and you
lose them.
And then when we want to harvest from one area, we'll put foods in a separate area so the worms migrate, and then we'll harvest from a particular area.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
It's quite quick, easy to make. You can, if you have wood, you can just use wood. You don't really need to use the blocks like we did. You just need to put something on the floor and put some wood panels on the sides, and I think you're ready to go.
Yeah, and then I think keeping it well hydrated and watered is very important. Yeah, you don't want your worm bin to dry out. Yeah, because they like quite like a moist environment. You don't need to buy synthetic inputs. You just need to be creative about what's on your land and how you can utilize it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, I don't know. The more you can make yourself, the better. Because the materials from your land will be best for your land. And then
Every farm needs this. This is so cheap
Yep.
to set up, and it takes no time to run.
Nope.
No, we don't. It just runs on its own. I think each bin was like, what, a couple $1,000 baht maybe?
Yeah, like
At
$50.
$100 maybe?
Not
50,
even.
60.
60 bucks.
Yeah, to set up each bin. And this roof is cool too. We use the same material.
Yep.
So it's just, we've built it from bamboos and thatched roof. It keeps the whole thing cool year round.
What is there a material like a metal or what's under at the top of it?
It's all thatched.
It's all that.
That's insane, and
Yeah.
it keeps the water.
Yeah, it keeps water. We've
in
gone
the
through a
rain.
rainy season with no problem.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. The tropical growing materials that we have available to us for building are really
Cool.
significant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I wish I could own land in Thailand, but they don't let me.
They
That's
don't
fair.
let you, I know.